What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Run It Up. I'm here with my good friend, Antonio Esfandiari. Wow, how lucky am I?
Well, I think the real question is how lucky am I? Because I remember when I was going on Howard Stern, and I was pretty excited, and I think my excitement factor is twice as much on your show.
You're a little more nervous.
That should just let you know how big of a deal you have become.
Big time
in
Somerville.
the poker world, Mr. Somerville.
Nice.
You know, Howard Stern, Jason Somerville.
What's the difference, really? Oh, a little different.
Thank you for having me on, sir.
Hey, anytime.
I'm glad I made the cut.
All right, yeah.
And it's an honor to be here.
You were on the edge. We weren't sure if we should or not. I
appreciate it. Whoop.
Yeah, that's all right. You know, muscles over there. So what have you been up to the last few months? I feel like we hung out a lot back in the day, and then you've been so busy, I've been relegated.
I feel as if my tournament escapades will come to an end in the next couple of years. Not to say that I'm not going to play tournaments, but I feel that I have about 2 years left of literally traveling to every tournament and playing on the circuit.
Right.
I know that someday I'm going to have babies and a wifey and all that, and so I won't be able to do it anymore.
Right.
And so I feel like this is my last run, so I've been going to pretty much all the big tournaments everywhere. Paris, London, whatever. And so I haven't been home much.
I saw you played like the Alpha 8 with like the 160K US out in London. That must have been a crazy event.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because in these high rollers, I only wired enough money for one bullet because I just assumed that I'm never going to bust before the rebuys. Right. And in the third level, I found myself playing, we started with 100K chips, and I found myself playing a 400K chip pot.
Okay.
And I lost it to Tobias, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there with, no chips. I busted a couple hands later. All right. And I'm like, do I really want to
320K,
another rebuy? It's
right.
another 160K. It was pretty tilting.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I gave him another bullet. That didn't last very long either. So, that, those tournament buy-ins can add up.
Yeah.
Big.
Crazy. I mean, I know you've run obviously pretty well lifetime in like these big buy-in stuff, but that shit is crazy. Like,
it really adds up.
Yeah, I mean, if you play like 8 of those a year, 100K a piece, that's a lot. That's a lot of cheddar.
I remember you used to need to allocate, few $100,000 a year to
like
play any tournament you wanted to play, including the World Series,
Right.
And now you need a couple hundred just for the World Series, and then you need another like $1.5 million if you want to play other tournaments. Right. Oh, and then once a year you need $1 million for the one drop.
Right.
So
once every other year.
Once every other year.
I'm gonna come through for that next year, by the way.
Come knocking.
Come knocking. Hey, please. So, I mean, you've been playing for what, like 10, 15 years now professionally? I mean, you've been on the circuit. You've been traveling pretty heavily for a long time, right?
Yeah, I'm really I'm tired of living out of a suitcase. I just want to be in one place for X amount of time. I want to take a cooking class. I want to go do. I've always wanted to do that yoga 30-day challenge where you go 30 days in a row. But I can't remember the last time I was.
In the same
10
place?
years ago, I was in the same place for 30 days.
Right.
And, everybody keeps saying, oh, it's so great. You get to travel all the time. Yeah, it is cool for the first few years. And then after that,
it's a grind.
A vacation is being home.
Right.
So there's nothing like being home.
Right.
So I just kind of want to have a little bit of a normal life. So, yeah, this is my last couple years of going to every tournament.
It's crazy. I mean, you said on your schedule coming up, you're going to a charity event in the next couple days, right? Tomorrow or something?
Yeah, tomorrow night I'm hosting a charity poker tournament for the Clinton Foundation.
Oh,
so
no big deal.
Clinton.
Just President Clinton.
He's pretty cool. I hosted his, not this last one, but the one year before that in New York. And he was just, I've never seen anybody light up a room the way he does. He walks in and he is so confident and he is so good at mingling with the crowd, but in a different sense. He didn't just say hello to everybody. There was one moment throughout the whole night where every single person in a room of 200 people felt as if they connected with him.
That's amazing.
Right, and when he looked at you, he looked in your eyes, he listened to you, and he was completely present, and I was very impressed. I learned a lot.
That's an amazing.
From him. And,
that's an amazing skill, or talent.
He's a smooth operator.
Right.
I did some magic tricks for him. And
that's so good. That has to be. You have to look at that as like one of the best skills you have for like a thing that people might not evaluate. Like I've been around you enough, and I've seen you do these things. It opens up so many doors.
Yeah,
people seem like so like they just love it. It's great.
Well, the thing about magic is it brings out the kid in you.
Right.
And we all have a kid inside of us that's still there, lingering around. And
some more than others.
Some more than others. And the magic kind of allows that to come to surface. So
That's
it's kind
amazing.
of cool. So yeah, Clint was cool. I was doing magic for him, and then he obviously the Secret Service was there, and so when Clint was busy doing something else, I had all the Secret Service guys I was doing magic for, and they were super cool.
Isn't that like a security breach or something?
I don't
You're
know.
like distracting them with things like.
It was weird because at this event they weren't, all up on him. He had all the space in the world, and he was just mingling around like a normal person. And I mean, they were definitely there, but they weren't. If somebody wanted to punch Bill Clinton in the face, they could have.
Right.
Obviously.
You were aware that you could have done it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I love Clinton. By the way, I think he was one of the best presidents we've ever had.
Right.
But it was just interesting to see that they weren't all like right next to him.
Right.
So, but I mean, I spoke to one of the guys, and he said that this was a different kind of an event where they felt it was completely safe to let him do his thing, and they were kind of on the outskirts.
That makes sense. Got to be a stressful job being Secret Service. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
When you travel, Jason Somerville, how many security do you take with you?
I used
or do you hire when you get to the city? How does that work for you?
It depends on where we're going. I actually have a story. Do you?
He has a story.
I have a story. You've went to Bahamas before many times. Do you know when you go there, you take a cab, and sometimes those cabs are kind of scary. Let's be honest. They're like rackety old cabs. There's no meter.
They're a little dodgy. When a cab doesn't have a meter, I get nervous.
I get a little nervous, right?
Yeah.
So there was traffic one time, and they turned off to the side streets, which are like really kind of scary. Like for me, white suburban Jay Carver, I was a little scared. So my friend that I was with was just like, "Oh wow, it's so amazing and beautiful." Meanwhile, I'm stuffing like credit cards in my socks and like I'm putting like cash in my socks just in case some worst case scenario. So yeah, I've got some anxiety issues. Maybe
That was the story?
That was the whole story. I had
Can we have a poll where people can call in and rate that story 1 to 10? Because I would give it a low number.
Hey, it's related to your story
When
though.
we were talking about bodyguards,
security,
and presidents, and you're talking about some random taxi
anxiety.
ride in Bahamas.
I got some anxiety.
I think it was a 2.2.
2.2? I think it was at least a 4.
Even a 4 is pathetic.
Okay, fair.
This is your show, and you're giving us a 4.
Where?
Right? I mean, the viewers at home want to see 7s and 8s.
They
right?
get 7s and 8s.
Can you guys phone in and tell them you want to see 7s and 8s?
They get 7s and 8s every day. We do a lot of cursing and yelling. I have a bell. Have you known that? Whenever I win a big pot and I suck out on somebody, I give them the old bell treatment. How do you feel about that?
I like it.
Yeah?
Yeah. On Ultimate Poker?
Yeah, yeah. UltimatePoker.com. That's right. The only place I play. That's right. Look at that branding. That's great. I'm impressed.
Throw a little plug in once in a while.
That's right. So I heard this rumor that you were in New Orleans recently doing some mischief with an old friend of yours. Is this true?
It is true that I was in New Orleans with Phil Locke, and it is true that we were up to something. But
okay.
I don't like to speak about things until they actually get done.
Right.
But I will say that I think we're favorites to have something real on a real network. So
that would be great, man.
Yeah, but you never know. It's really up to the television executives. I'll tell you that we've worked hard on this project for almost a year, done a bunch of different stuff for it, and I think it's a really cool concept, and I think it'll be great for poker as a whole. And at the end of the day, it's not up to Phil or myself. It's up to, a room full of people who decide on TV shows.
Right.
So
right.
I hope that they're in a good mood, and I hope that we come across well, because if it does get picked up, then it'll be great for poker.
Awesome. I mean, like, I know that I had never missed an episode of I Bet You. It was like the first show that I watched, and I actually feel like of all the poker shows that were ever created, that I Bet You had the best combination of like entertainment, and I thought there was like a ton of like poker education, but I thought it was like a great poker show. Like the to me, the best part about poker are like the stories, the characters, the interactions, and I feel like you feel the same way.
And it's interesting because poker itself is really not that interesting until it's 2 or 3 handed for a major title. Then it's interesting.
Right.
The things that poker players, the way they live and the way they act and the way they just are as a whole, like going to a tournament, hanging out, having dinner, gambling for certain bills, betting on everything, that stuff is way more interesting than the actual poker.
Right.
So, and if you want some good news, well, I don't know if it's good news or bad news, but you said you watched every episode of I Bet You.
I sure did.
You haven't seen every episode of season 3 because season 3 never
aired.
made it to air. It's sitting on a shelf.
Right.
I actually have the entire season at my condo.
Oh.
So if you ever want to come over and watch it.
Oh,
by the way,
that's great.
You want to hear something crazy?
What's that?
I've only seen a half of an episode of season 3. I never watched
my
it
god!
either.
I could get the debut experience
With
episode.
me.
Oh my god! Can we like auction that or something? That's great. That is a
We'll
great
have a
event.
beer. We'll do some bonding.
Oh, that's amazing.
All right, let's go.
This is
I'm
great.
in.
Let's do it. So you just have them? That's
They're
nuts.
in my condo.
But you can't do anything with them. You just have to like
What
hold
am I
on to
gonna
them. Put them on my YouTube channel. It's great. We can run it.
I don't know if there's some legality there.
Right.
But if there isn't, sure.
Oh my god, I would love it. This is a
Because,
run
see,
it up exclusive.
I'm really bad at doing it. Like I wouldn't even know how to take it and put it on a.
That's what you got me
thing.
for, pal.
So if
That's
they say,
right.
I'll send an email. If they say it's okay, I'll just give them to you and you can post them.
That would be great. Could you imagine?
There's some really funny stuff in season 3.
I'm sure.
I think my favorite bet was who can take 2 Ambiens and stay up longer.
Oh, that's
Okay.
great.
That was really funny. We
That's
did
great.
camel racing.
I bet it was Phil. I'm not going to spoil it, but I bet it was Phil. I feel like he's got the endurance. He has like the
Well,
record.
you'll have to
of-
tune in to Jason Somerville's YouTube channel to see.
Oh, that's awesome.
We did camel racing. We did a bet where whoever lost had to cup the camel testicles. And we did a lot of fun.
That's
stuff.
so great. That's so great. That's awesome. So you've done a lot of broadcasting recently. You did the main event final table the last couple days. How was that experience like?
It's probably the most challenging task for me, in the entire year. Just because it's really tough to tell, all the people that are watching what everybody has before you get to see the cards.
Right.
So
on ESPN, no less.
On ESPN. So, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's tough.
Right.
Because they want you to be specific. And I have no problem trying to be specific. A lot of times I look like an idiot, and sometimes I look like a genius. So
Right.
it's either or. But I think that the show came out pretty good, and people seemed to like it, and the feedback on Twitter was fantastic.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
I watched almost the entire thing and thought you did a really good job. I mean, like, it's got to be really tough to balance the audience levels from, like, the guys on 2+2 who watch and want you to talk about, like, ranges and 3-bets and, like, all this other stuff versus my dad who doesn't know any of that stuff.
Yeah, I try and keep all the high-tech terminology out.
Right.
I almost don't really say the word range just because a lot of amateur poker players don't even understand that concept. It's
Right,
just like
right.
he has this, or maybe this, or whatever.
Right.
And so in speaking to the ESPN executives and the WSOP people, doing the show, the production people, they want it to be for non-professionals.
Right.
So that's kind of what I do. That's what I try and do. So plus, I'm still trying to learn what hijack under the gun and all
Yeah.
that stuff is anyway. So
Yeah, you're not exactly an online kid yourself over there. So.
UTG +1.
Hey, you got that at least. That's good. How did you get into broadcasting? Like, what made you first say I want to do it?
I mean, I didn't. I got a call to do some commentary for the 50K.
The horse,
Back when
right?
Brian Rass won.
Okay.
And what I didn't know is that was actually a test model for all the different pros that came in. They invited a bunch of different people to come in and do commentary.
Oh, cool.
But it was actually a test to see who they wanted to pick for the main event.
Got you.
And I was luckily the chosen one. So
You're the man. That's right.
put a little pain into Phil Hellmuth. That's always fun.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure if you were the one doing the white magic segments, there would be a lot. He would laugh at you. I'm sure you did great. I can't imagine him ever carrying the broadcast the way you could carry it.
Well,
There would
we
be
all
much
love
more-
Phil, but Phil likes to talk about the players at the table and a little bit about Phil.
Right.
I mean,
Only a little. You're saying.
Yeah, this is recorded, so.
Yeah. All right.
No, but I like Phil, but he's Phil Hellmuth.
Right.
He is what he is.
Right. That's it's got to be like really amazing for you to look back on your poker career and see how far you've come from because when I was a kid, I remember watching you win at the World Poker Tour in season 2 or season 3. I remember the 1.4 and rocks and rings. I remember.
Please, let's not talk about rocks and rings.
I'm just saying, but I know. I mean, you were 22. I mean, I understand what it's like to be 22. I was just there a couple of years ago myself. But as a 17, 16-year-old, I remember looking up to you and watching your career and seeing how you've grown over the year and the things you've accomplished. You must look back as even from now, you must look back and be pretty happy with what you've accomplished. I mean,
yeah, it's funny. I don't think about it that often. It's just really lucky to live the life that I live. You know, my family is super healthy.
Right.
I have my dad around all the time.
He lives by me, actually. We're neighbors.
Oh, he lives on this floor.
Yeah, he lives on this floor.
He does. He lives like 4 doors down from where I am right now. How
I see him all the time, you know?
That's so
I
funny.
wanted to bring him a pie when I first moved in, but I wasn't sure if he would take it in a bad way or something. I don't know.
What are you talking about?
He'd love it?
Yeah,
All right,
that's
I don't
super
know.
cool, yeah. Get him on the show.
That would be great.
He's
That'd be
the
awesome.
legend. So no, I mean, look, my career has been. I feel that, you know, there were many times where I wish I could go back and not be who I was when I first started, because I won the WPT Commerce, I won a bracelet,
Right.
and then all of a sudden, I honestly did not care. I just wanted to party and hang out and, you know, do the things that I always wanted to do, which is just go out and be the guy and have fun and go to clubs and all this stuff. And I never gave poker a real chance for many, many years. And then as soon as I stopped partying, you know, I won.
Your
another
results were
WPT.
crazy, right? Yeah.
I won another bracelet, and then I won the one drop, and so it's incredible what happens when you really focus.
Right.
And my focus in the last couple of years has been unparalleled. I mean,
Right.
you know, I take poker very seriously now. I almost never drink anymore anyway. But
I didn't know that.
Certainly before a tournament,
Right.
always go to the gym before, eat very healthy, super focused, and never use my phone during play. I don't know if you noticed that or not.
Right,
but,
right, yeah. We played together quite a bit in the last couple of years, it feels like.
Yeah,
For years
I
we
always
didn't.
sitting on your left, thank God.
Yeah, for years we didn't play, and then it was like 8 in a row we played for every single tournament.
Yeah.
It was like Bellagio, Bay 101, someplace in Europe. It was like crazy.
So if you give something the real focus that it deserves, I think that your chances of success are crushingly better.
Right.
And I remember really kicking myself in the head a couple years ago when all of a sudden I realized that everybody was good and it was nowhere near what it used to be. And I'm like, you know, wow, this is not where I want to be. And then all of a sudden I had this great couple of years.
Right.
And so it was a nice boost of confidence to know that I can still win.
Yeah, for sure. Do you still have poker goals, do you feel like? Or do you feel like at this point you're kind of just like, you want to succeed, I'm sure. I know you're still driven and ambitious, but do you feel like there's something like, I know like Phil wants to have the most bracelets and even Daniel wants to have the most bracelets. Do you feel that same kind of pressure at this point? Or
That's a good question. No, there's really no pressure. I am just, you know, poker is a means to a good life. And you only have so many life units, and before you know it, you're going to run out.
Right, yeah.
So if I spent all my life units trying to be the best at something, one day I'm going to be sitting on my deathbed going, well, I wish I would have done this and I wish I would have done that. So I want to be the man that has the most experiences. And with that goes having fun, doing random trips, going snowmobiling, going traveling.
Like that one drop charity thing you did is a good example.
That was a life learning experience, life changing experience. So I like to do those things way more than just going to a random poker tournament. So it's really all about experiences. And I think that, you know, what's the point of succeeding and making money if you don't use that to do things that, you know, you weren't able to do before?
Right.
And I think that people that make money and buy objects and people that make money and have experiences, I think the people with experiences are crushingly happier.
Happier, right.
So
for
you
sure.
have all the money in the world, but doesn't mean you're going to be happy. So
right.
I just want to maintain my happiness meter.
That's great, right? Like that alone seems like a very big, like you said, like in terms of how you've evolved and matured over the years. Like that perspective is one that I myself have moved towards in the last 5 years. Because I mean, fuck, dude, all I did was like poker, grind. But for what? Like I grinded and didn't do anything. I just like grinded to grind. There was no end, like balance. You know,
what's the point of just playing poker all the time, morning to night, every single? I mean, the reason why you play poker is to have freedom to enjoy your life.
Right.
So once poker becomes your life and nothing else, then I don't really see the value in that.
Do you do a lot of other like charitable things? Like I know you did the one drop trip, which was amazing. You've talked about it before, into Nicaragua and El Salvador, right? And I know it was great.
Honduras and El Salvador.
I was 1 out of 2, pretty close. But I mean, do you do other things like that very often? Is that a foundation you work with a lot?
I host a lot of charity poker tournaments.
Right. I know we have the one with Clinton you said coming up, but
yeah, but I mean that's obviously one of the hierarchy ones. I'm hosting another charity tournament 2 nights after that in LA. So
nice.
Anytime somebody says, "Hey, can you host this?" I say, you know, what is it for? And they say charity. I say, what charity? And if it's something that I like, then I just do it. If I can do it in my schedule, I just do it.
Right.
Just because, you know, there's a lot of less fortunate people in the world, and I know how lucky I am. So, you know, if my dad didn't have the courage to move us to America, I'd be in Iran fighting some war. You know, no cards. deck of cards is illegal. What would I be doing? And you're like, can't play poker, can't do magic. What am I gonna do in my life?
What would you do? That's right. Huh? How when you moved here? How old were you when you actually came to America? Because you mentioned before a lot.
8 years old, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So my first day in 3rd grade, I will never forget. I went to school, in an American school. I didn't know a single person, and I didn't know a single word of English besides hello.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So that was a rough day.
Yeah, I bet it was.
And I wasn't very popular in school. I'll be honest. I got picked on a lot, especially in high school.
Right.
I got picked up and thrown in the trash a couple times. They tied me to a couple of posts. They picked on the kid, Jason.
But now you show them who's boss, though, right? Sweet vengeance, right? You're Antonio Esfandiari.
My 10-year high school reunion was fun.
Oh yeah, how was that? I bet that was awesome.
I rented a huge limo and I took 8 or 9 of my friends that didn't even go to the same high school with me.
Right. That's awesome.
We had a good time.
That's awesome.
But whatever, kids are kids, so I'm not gonna hold a grudge forever.
Right. For me, I was already playing poker in high school. I had already found poker by the time I was a junior in high school, which was my last year of high school. So I just was already consumed by the gambling culture before I even was in 10th grade. So for me, that's
an early start, Mr. Somerville.
That's right. I started as a baby. I used to be the youngest kid in the poker rooms instead of over average.
I used to be the youngest in a poker room.
Yeah, I bet.
When poker first started getting popular, I was the youngest. I was younger than Daniel.
Right.
I was younger than anybody. And then all of a sudden now I'm at a table and 8 guys are younger than me.
What got you into poker originally? Did you have a friend that did it, or did you just how did you find it?
I was living with a buddy of mine. His name is Scott Stewart, and I'll never forget it.
Okay.
We were roommates. I used to wait tables with him. And one day I was just hanging out on the couch, and he's, just casually leaving. And I say, Scott, where are you going? I'm going down to Gardens or a Bay 101 casino to go play. And I'm like, there's poker here? Are you gambling? I thought it was illegal and this, whatever.
Right.
This and that. I'm 19. He's like, no. And I had a fake ID, so I just kind of went with him. And the very next day, he gave me a book, Winning Low Limit Hold'em by Lee Jones.
Okay.
I read the book. And the next day I went and started playing, and I'm like, oh my God, these people play so bad.
And you're already 1 day old in poker, and you already knew that.
I literally started winning from right then and there.
That's amazing.
So, they just didn't understand that. They didn't grasp the idea of playing tight. And I was just a super nit in 3-6. And then the game that really made it for me, the game that really created, opened the door for me to get to where I am today was we had a spread limit game where you could bet anywhere from 10 up to 200, because in California you can't.
There's some weird limits
in San Jose or something.
Right.
And so you could bet anywhere from 10 to 200 at any time. And so it was just wrong to draw, basically. You just wait for aces and get action, and I just squeezed. But I talked so much, they thought I was loose.
You thought you were loose.
Loose, but I was really a super closet nit.
Right.
And I just crushed them. So.
That's crazy. It's so funny how many different backgrounds people come from and all end up in the same poker universe, right? How did our worlds collide exactly? You know what I mean? Right? It's interesting to see how these things happen.
And it's really interesting to think about how many people would have a different life if internet poker never got evolved.
Right.
If the internet wasn't there.
I wouldn't have ended
poker.
poker.
What would all these other kids be doing with their lives?
Right.
Right.
So it's kind of weird.
Interesting.
So I heard a couple of stories, and there's been a lot of stories actually lately coming out of the circuit of your friends over there about prop bets, things like that. I saw a couple of tattoos. I heard a couple of little stories. Anything you care to share with us that could be interesting?
I guess I can just say it. I was with Bill Perkins and Jeff.
He seems like a troublemaker, that Bill Perkins. He seems like
he's the best. He really is just the best. If you talk to him about life and theory, and he's on such a different level. He's one of my best friends. I really, really like him. Not just because he's a fish, but because he's the best. He really is.
Yeah.
And he's made a bunch of money, and he wants to spend it all before he dies, and he understands, he has X amount of life units, and he's got to get maximum value out of them. And if you ever actually hang out with him and have the privilege of being his friend, and he's completely himself around you, he's one of the most interesting people on the planet. And so him, myself, and PBF, Jeff Gross, professional best friend, we were in Sweden, having some gin and tonics.
Ah, Sweden. We have many Swedish fans, so it's great.
And and somehow the conversation turned into how much you would have to get paid to go without release for a year.
Okay.
Now, if you release in your sleep, you can't help that. But
of course.
Self-induced or with someone's assistance.
Right.
And I don't know, I was having a Yoda-ish kind of spiritual moment, and I was like thinking to myself,
you felt all centered.
yeah, I thought that it would be an amazing learning experience. That was what was going through my head.
Right.
You know, I've had a very good run, you know, in my life, and
I'd say so.
I thought it would be like educational and self-growing and very zen for me to do something
kind of like
this.
Monk-like.
Yeah,
right?
and I know
right.
a really good friend of mine who did it for 2 years. He said it was the most incredible experience of his life. And I thought that I would be able to shift all of my energy to poker and other aspects of my life.
Right.
And so that's kind of how I was thinking about it. I wasn't even thinking about,
the
a whole year without
sacrifices,
release.
right.
I could just mentally tune it out.
Right.
So
like
we
an on-off switch, right?
We bet a lot of money on it. And
it was the revenge of Perkins, it sounds like.
it was the revenge of Perkins. And I basically, about a week later, you know, I made it a week or something. And it wasn't that I was scared of not being able to do it, because I would have never broken down. I would have done it.
Right.
But I just
didn't want to live in a world that was like that.
you know, I started actually thinking back to the conversation that he and I had about life units, and is that amount of money really going to change my life, and is it worth one of, you know, the prime years of my life to do something like this?
Right.
And I realized that it was not. And so he kindly let me buy out for a small fee.
Okay.
I mean, I still had to pay, but
right, didn't hurt too bad at least.
it didn't crush me, you know. So,
right.
Thank God.
I'm sure one day, maybe not these days, but I'm sure one day when you go back and tell the stories of all the crazy prop bets you've had over the years, I'm sure it'd be pretty insane. Like, I've heard a couple of them, and they're like crazy, wild. I don't know anybody that gambles the way you do with these kind of things. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love prop bets. I mean, it's my favorite thing.
I mean, yeah, you guys came up with John and Loudon things.
Well, you can't say you guys. It was mostly Phil, but I don't think he would have been able to do it without me. So
you popularized it.
You're
the promoter.
I definitely promoted it. It's a great game. I mean,
right. Just like the UFC without Dana. You're the Dana White of Loudon things, right?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Do you watch much UFC these days? Have you been keeping it up?
Yeah, I mean, every time I'm in town and there's a fight, I love to go to the fights just because it's such a great rush. I just love the idea that it's...
Well, excited for UFC 167. That's
sweet.
right.
Are we giving these away today?
Oh, yeah, we're giving them away. Not today, though. We're giving away 10,000 subscribers.
Sweet.
Check out this. We're going to fly 2 people to Las Vegas, Red Rock for free for the weekend. They're going to come to the UFC Hall of Fame poker game with us. How cool is that? Bruce Buffer, Hoist Gracie, Forrest Griffin, Chuck Liddell. Going to be a great day. Playing a sit and go at Red Rock the next day, and then we get to go to the fight that night.
That's pretty sweet.
All for free, just for hanging out with us. That's pretty sweet, right?
That is pretty sweet. That sounds like a lot of fun.
DearJCarver@gmail.com. Send me your submission, by the way. Anyway, so yeah, a little plug for the promotion.
Yeah,
okay.
I go to any UFC fight that I can just because I really love the idea that it's mano a mano and it's just these two beasts in a
train for months preparing.
In this little octagon, and only one person's gonna win.
Right.
It's like a heads-up battle for a major title.
It's pretty crazy. Have you ever fought before? Would you consider doing that? Is that the kind of thing that interests you at all?
No.
There's no.
I'm not a man's man.
We're not going to see a prop bet.
Maybe put up a tent with guidance. That's about it.
All right.
But if you ever want to jump in the ring, maybe I would take my shot against you, kid.
Yeah. Hey, I'm getting some offers these days. Dan O'Brien wants to fight me. You know, he thinks he can beat me with no training. He said 6 months, no training, he can beat me. He thinks.
And you can train.
And I can train.
Well, you're an idiot for not taking that bet.
Right. It's crazy, right?
Crushing.
It's crazy.
I bet a lot on you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Hey, this was a lot of fun. I had a good time.
Thanks for having me.
This was great. Well, don't forget, guys, follow Antonio on Twitter. What's your...
@Magic Antonio.
Magic Antonio. Easy. Tell Magic Antonio, hey, thanks for coming on Run It Up. We appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. We got to hang out. We got a little guest here, right? How cool is that? Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you back for more tomorrow. Peace. That's right. You want to give him peace?
Peace. That's what the kids are doing now.
That's what the kids are doing now. That's great.